we can welcome you to America by saying you fooled Penn and Teller.
My vision was to create the most original show in the world. A show where art comes to life.
I don't get anything right now.
There's something so magical.
Vitaly, you just brought tears to my eyes.
You're very, very good.
I think it's a symbol to the fact that our dreams, our visions can come true.
Hey, how exciting was that?
That was very exciting.
Yeah. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful.
Good. Tonight, it's Thursday. It is November 23rd already. I don't know where the time is gone. And but it's 8 o'clock, and here we are once again, and Conversations on the Green. My name is Avery Saltzman.
I'm David Eisner.
And we are
the co-artistic directors of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company.
And we are live.
And we're live. Live.
Yeah. Cool.
I got to wear a name tag.
Yeah.
We just saw Vitaly, the promo for it. It's so exciting. And we saw him in New York. And we were mesmerized by it. And we were going to bring him in for our 13th anniversary bar mitzvah season.
Right.
And unfortunately, with COVID hitting in March, we've postponed it for 6 months from now. And God willing, things are better. And he'll be here in June.
Yeah.
It's exciting, man. Great to have him in our theater.
Before we go to Vitaly, want to talk about where we can have some comments?
Sure. Just to the right, you'll see there's a place for you to comment. If not, then there's a place to link to make a comment. And I also want to take a moment because we'd love to hear you ask a question or make a comment. We'll show it. But also, we want to thank Sonny Goldstein with Sonny Goldstein Financial for contributing and supporting us over the last few years and for the Conversations on the Green series.
And
thank you so much, Sonny.
Yes, thank you, Sonny. We always have the opportunity during the conversations that if you care to donate to the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company, you can go onto our website, www.hggjewishtheater.com, and you can click the link below. You can go to give us, to donate. It's always welcome. Well, I'll do the introductions. It is perfect time for a little magic, Susan Dorchick says. We saw this gent on one of our trips to New York. Daryl Roth, a producer we got Stars of David from, introduced us to Vitaly Beckman. And you and I went to see his show. It was a show, he bills himself as an illusionist, which I'd love to know the difference between a magician and an illusionist, what he'll tell us. But it was an exciting evening. All I was sitting there for an hour going, pick me, make me disappear, make me do something. It was thrilling.
It really was.
It was so. Without further ado,
Let's make him appear.
Make him appear, and pow!
Ooh, look at that! Here he is.
There's magic happening.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. You're. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm excited. I hope we can finally do our show in about 6 months in June.
Yeah,
we've been promoting you for years now.
We're yes.
Vitaly, you were born in the Soviet Union prior to breaking up, raised in Israel. I love to talk about that. And you live in Vancouver. So were you in Israel when the idea, I think you're about 7 years old, came up about the concept even of the wonder of magic?
I used to paint when I was a little kid. I always loved magic. And used to love to watch magic shows even when I was like 7 years old. But I think I started actually doing magics when I was about 14, 15 years old in kind of middle school. And so that's where I also discovered that I'm really good at it. And this is something I want to pursue. And before that, I thought maybe I'll do something else, maybe in movies, or maybe I'll be a painter. I wasn't sure, but it had to be something creative. But it was magic that I realized could combine all other skills like painting and storytelling and directing movies and so forth. You can do all of that in magic, and you can do it with real people. It's so you get to relive the experience. Like if you do a movie, You film it and it's done. In magic, you get to experience it time and time again.
Were your parents was it come from a cultural household? Were your parents into art and painting and music and such?
We had an appreciation for art. My mom exposed me to painters, photography of collage of all kinds of painters, and we had a stack of albums from the Renaissance, and so I got exposed to ballet and theater and painting. So it was kind of something you would just be exposed to. But my mom was my parents are very practical. My mom was an economist, and my dad is an engineer. So not really,
Yeah. I did appreciate going to Israel a few times and knowing that they have this thing called a cultural basket where kids get exposed to all the arts on a profound way.
I didn't know that. So what is it? Ultra basket?
Like a cultural basket of being exposed. And it's a sort of a euphemism of just being exposed to music and dance and theater, and they make sure of that. What city did you grow up in Israel?
I grew up in Haifa, which is on the north, yes. And then later on, we moved just next door to Haifa, just in a little small town next to it. But yeah, it was always somewhere there. It's a bit of a, it's not the central kind of. It's not where all the action is happening. So it's kind of I guess it's a kind of like a suburb, but it's a beautiful city with great views and great scenery. Everything is most Israel is very close to the beach. So Haifa beach are also where I spend most of my time.
Did you move to Vancouver with your family, or did you just move to Vancouver?
No, I moved by myself.
Okay.
My parents are still in Israel, and I was pursuing my dreams to perform in New York City, perform all over the world in the States, Vegas, and Broadway, and I wanted to immigrate for that purpose. And at that time, my brother, he was traveling the world, and he decided to settle in Vancouver, Canada. So I figured, well, I might as well settle there as well, and it's very close to the border with the States, so I can perform anywhere. And that's pretty much eventually what happened.
So you weren't in the army? Were you in the army?
I was part of a program where I was an engineer. It's called like Atuda, and so it was part of the program where that's how I started engineering.
Wow,
cool. Is your brother involved in the arts at all, or? In the
arts? No, he's a programmer geek. He's he studied computer science, and he did all kinds of. He worked as an independent, and he did a lot of computer work, which I actually am not familiar too well. What exactly he's doing.
So your parents must have given you a lot of support, because if you go home and you say, I want to be a magician, and your parents say, go ahead, enjoy, got a good luck, or they must have been very supportive, no?
Well, they wanted me to be an engineer. They wanted me to have a practical job as well. And I, as I mentioned, I did work as an engineer as well. But it's something I never really wanted to do.
Right.
So
it must have been great for them to come to New York and see you all over Times Square. I mean,
yeah.
How a special moment.
That's got to be incredible to walk into Times Square and see your face 50 feet high. I mean, it's got to be an extraordinary experience.
Yes, I think that was the moment they said, okay, I guess you can be a magician.
I think we have a picture of your parents after one of the shows.
Okay, cool. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Daryl Roth, yeah.
Daryl Roth, yeah. So that's my mom and my dad, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That was, I think, the opening night or something, that photo from.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you call yourself a magician, or do you call yourself an illusionist? And what is the difference?
I call myself an illusionist because that's how I look at what I do, as a form of an illusion. But I also look at any art form as a form of an illusion, because artists create something out of nothing, which is like an illusion, right? A painter, he uses paint, but the way he arranges the paint creates meaning, creates something we recognize. Same thing with musicians and theater directors. So magic is very similar, but the difference with magic is it's immersive. So it allows the audience to be immersed in the creation, in the art, and to experience it from the inside. So, but it's still an illusion. But you know, as I think was it Picasso who said that art is a lie that tells the truth. So although it's an illusion, it's what you're trying to say that's important.
It was funny. I just saw on YouTube yesterday, Laurence Olivier talking about theater, and he was saying how the set is a certain look, and someone said, well, it's not that realistic. So he said, well, let's take a picture that someone paints. Let's take a photograph of a nose and remove the nose from the painting and put the photograph of the nose in. It's not going to go. It's because, as you say, it's that's the art, is the impression that you give, and that's part of the.
So you're saying we're going to complete the image of the nose with our minds, right? We're going to complete that.
Or he was saying, put a photograph of a nose in the place where the nose should go in a painting, and you'll see that it doesn't go, because the painting isn't a photograph; it's the art of the form that he's expressing as an artist.
Yes.
Do something realistic, it doesn't go. Just like on a set, it doesn't have to be realistic; it has to be.
Yes, I agree. And the way I see it, it's really about, it's not about tricking the audience. It's really about allowing your imagination to dream and to paint your own images, to kind of almost fool yourself, to create the illusion in your head. So when you have that nose, I guess the way I understood, you're kind of reconstructing the face in your mind. So at least my job as an illusionist is to, you know, not to trick the audience, but to kind of seduce them to reimagine what the illusion, you know, rather than
the construction of that illusion must take a lot of work. There must be quite a science in creating an illusion, because I would assume you would have to go from the idea and then how to make that happen and seem seamless, correct?
Yes, it's absolutely correct. Yes, it's a lot of times I start from the idea as you described, and what I want to see, and then you're trying to come up with methods how to accomplish it. And you know, sometimes you have an idea and the idea takes a second, but to accomplish it sometimes takes a couple of years or even more, because it's one thing to have it formed in your head, it's another thing to have it actually built in real life, and that's always a challenge.
Is there a science to it? Is there
the only science in magic that I can see is really the psychology of the human mind, understanding how it works, and a lot of it is based on assumptions. So we take assumptions every day, you know, and because of that, we take advantage of that, and we know that you right now, you have an assumption that there's nobody behind you right now, because there was nobody earlier, but maybe once somebody came in while you were talking to me, and now there is somebody behind you, right? So we take advantage of those loopholes, and it's kind of, we trick you or make you trick yourself because of the assumptions you take, right? So, you know, if I hold my hand like this and I don't say anything, you might assume I have something in my hand, right? But I've got nothing there. Because I hold it like this, you say, well, there's got to be something. Otherwise, why would I hold my hand like this, right? On the other hand, if I came and I say, I've got something in my hand right now, well, maybe that's a bad example. But if I said my hand is empty, then you would question it. Well, if it's empty, why am I holding it like that, right? But if I just held it naturally in this position, say, you would think, well, my hand is empty, even though maybe it's not, you know.
Could you do a little magic trick with us now?
Oh, sure, I could try. Actually, I was thinking about this before, and you know, at this strange time, sometimes I do like virtual shows, which is where you through a computer like this, you know. And so I thought I prepared something. You know, it's funny because when I started doing magic, it was in Israel, in my parents' home, in my parents' living room, just like this. And whenever they had guests come over, they would become my audience at that time. And since then, I've been lucky, I've been fortunate to travel around the world and perform different places. But isn't it ironic that after all these years, I'm back performing in my living room? But you're my audience, and it's a pleasure to do something for you. So what I did, I got this little piece of paper, and I wrote something down here. I'm gonna place it. I want to make sure you guys can see. If I place it here,
Sure.
you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So here you can see that. So now, also I want to make sure we haven't prearranged anything. We haven't talked before the show,
No.
right?
No, we have not.
We have.
No.
Okay, and now who wants to? Who wants to start?
Me.
You're gonna start. Okay, Avery. So Avery, imagine that the coronavirus is over. We're back to normal. We travel. We do whatever we want. Where would you go? Which place on earth would you go to?
I'd love to go to Hawaii.
Hawaii. Oh, that's a good choice. I would love to go with you. Okay, Hawaii. That's a good choice. So you're gonna go to Hawaii, and let's say you can take anybody with you, anybody in the world. Who would you take?
I'll take my husband, Kevin.
Your husband, Kevin.
Right.
Okay, well, lucky guy. Okay, so Kevin, and then how many days would you go to? Like, you can imagine. There's no limitations. Go wild, whatever you want.
10 days.
Okay. 10 days. You can go as many as you want. He's gonna go for 10 days.
Crazy man.
But okay, let's go. Let's keep it at 10 days.
Okay, it's up to you. 10 days. So you're gonna go to Hawaii with Kevin. You're gonna go for 10 days. What activity are you going to do? No limitations. It doesn't have to make sense. Nobody's gonna judge you based on what you're gonna say. You can tell us whatever you want.
I'd like to go parasailing.
Parasailing. Wow, very good. For 10 days. All right. It's going to be a lot of parasailing. All right. So parasailing in Hawaii for 10 days. That's not bad with Kevin. And one last question. When you're back, because obviously after 10 days, you're probably going to be back. What are you going to take with you? Maybe a souvenir. What are you going to bring with you?
Bring back with me?
Yeah.
Oh my! A beautiful Hawaiian shirt.
Okay, you're a very modest man. You had the option to go anywhere for any number of times. 8 days, you limited to 10. You're only going to bring a shirt out of anything. Okay. So a beautiful Hawaiian shirt. All right. Okay. So and once again, we haven't prearranged this. Yes. We haven't talked to you, Avery, before. I asked you before that who wants to participate. You guys, it could have been David.
Could have been David.
Okay, I'm curious what would have David's answers been. So we haven't participated in any of it. So before we started talking, as I mentioned, I kind of wrote something down on this piece of paper, and I was thinking, what would you guys say? What would you name in your mind? And let's see what I wrote, okay, just to compare. Let's see. I'm going to show it to you line by line. So let's see. I'm going to cover the rest. So, okay, so this was today. Okay, can you guys see it? Okay.
Yeah.
When the coronavirus is over, Avery will travel to Hawaii.
Oh, my God.
Taking along Kevin for 10 days.
Oh, my God.
Together, they will go parasailing. And thanks for the Hawaiian shirt.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I tell you, Vitaly, I sat in your audience that you incorporate so much of your art also, painting and stuff like that. Phenomenal. And I tell you, my arm got tired. I was one in the going this because you do this incredible trick of erasing your face from your driver's license.
Right. Did I do it with your license?
No, you picked everybody around me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe you thought, who is it? Because we hadn't met yet, so maybe you thought, who was that maniac in the middle of the theater? Down.
But I remember, Avery, going to the show, and we were coming to the theater. It was the West Side Theater, where Penn and Teller started, by the way.
Yes.
And then I remember going, and I had to go buy a 10-year-old boy, and he was so excited, very similar to Avery, sort of bouncing in his seat, saying, "Is it magic or illusion? What is it?" And I said, I don't know. I haven't seen the show. But that same, whether you're a kid or a kid within us, like Avery and myself, the theater was filled with families and of all different ages, and they all were so amazed at what you do, and you do it so effortlessly and charmingly. It was such a great show. That's why we wanted to bring it to our theater, and to incorporate sort of a little bit of growing up in Israel narrative to it as well. But
that sort of illusion, you said, could take years. It is also the patter part of the illusion. Is that part of the magic itself? The dialogue that you partake in front of the audience, is that part of the whole thing?
Is it part of the magic, or is it part of the
in the building of the trick?
Yeah.
You have to fine tune it, I would imagine.
Fine tune it, but is the dialogue, is what you say also a large part of the illusion?
It could be. I mean, it's really a storytelling and painting a picture in your mind.
Yeah.
You do that with body language, with words and text.
Yeah.
Of course, just like in the theater, you would.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the driver's license. It's funny because you wanted. I didn't realize. Maybe I didn't see your head, because it's difficult to see everybody when you're on stage. But it's actually quite challenging, because I asked people for their driver's license, and you would think that only a few would give them to you. But in reality, so many people want to take their driver's license that I feel bad, because there's just no time in a show to do it with every single person.
Now, if you wanted some advice, I'd say ask for their visa.
Did you ever get into trouble with the driver's license? I know in some states, or the idea of manipulating it.
I was lucky. In Singapore, I couldn't do the act. They have a law, a recent apparently law, where you're not even allowed, even in a hotel, you can't ask for somebody's ID or driver's license. Yeah, you're not allowed to. They have very strict laws for that. Anywhere else, I was fortunate, never had trouble with that. I did have sometimes somebody from the government, a police officer or a judge, attend the show. And, I think a police officer once told me after the show that I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, to applaud or to arrest you. So luckily she applauded. We had a federal judge once come to a show, and after the show he said that just don't tell anybody I was here. I was lucky so far, but if I was arrested, it would be a good publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Have you performed in Israel?
I was performing there mostly when I was growing up. Did corporate shows and private shows. I never did a public. Yeah, I don't think I did a public like a theater show there. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, but I would love to.
Was there ever a trick that you had the idea for that you weren't able to come to fruition with?
Yes, there's several things. I have an idea that I've been playing in my mind for like 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had a little breakthrough, and I still stuck with it. Yeah, some effects I'm working on for like a decade.
Oh my God.
Yes. I have ideas since I was a kid. Stephen King, when he was asked whether he writes down his ideas, he said it doesn't, because if it's a really great idea, it will stick in your mind. I find that kind of to be true. I have ideas that I eventually go back to that I had like 20 years ago, because it was it was a good idea. So it never went away. So yeah, but the trick is to have a long memory, to remember things from. Sometimes you discover technology later on that allows you to do certain things, and it opens doors to create magic. I have, some of the most simple things in the theater. Like you guys maybe remember, there's a thing where I draw lines and the lines move.
Yes.
Form a leaf.
Yeah.
That like, in the theater, it's like 2 minutes. It took me 2 years to work on it and develop it. And it's still, you still find ways to improve it along the years later on.
Because I guess you would have to think of the end result first and then work backwards, correct?
Yes. You have to think of what you want the audience to see and feel, and you have to work backwards to try to find a way to get to it as close with as little compromises as possible.
I love how you say feel. I mean, I think that must be integral, how the audience feels. I think that's quite, I love that.
Yeah, of course. When it's all about the feeling. When we look at a painting, when we watch a movie, it should create something within us. It's not, I'm not a fan of movies that are just visual effects. I want it to have an atmosphere, to have something that I will remember long after the movie is over. And I try to do the same thing with a theater show. I want it to be what the unique part about theater is that it's not like a movie that you will watch it and it will be exactly the same. You guys know that. Every show is absolutely unique. And so the best part is when the audience knows that what they're watching, they will never see again, that it's unique to that show. And that's really what makes theater so special.
I also love, Vitaly, that you have a concept, but it's not simply an illusion. It's connected to art. It's connected to a whole theme of bringing to life from nothing to something, sort of like the leaf appearing, and then you first appears as a drawing, and it comes to life. Yeah, so that really, I think, elevates your illusion, and you're continuing to do that with other art forms and how they connect.
It's really my philosophy in life in general to invent. The idea that I take this is my invention book, by the way. And this is actually how I in the show I sketch things and they come out to reality. But actually, before we were talking, I oftentimes sketch ideas on a pad, and I design the methods, and so it's like that's how it actually works. It's not just one page. In real life, it's a lot of work. But this is my philosophy. You have to take a blank page and you have to create something amazing out of it. So the leaf is just a representation of that. And I did start to do new things since. They usually still art related. I do things with the sculpture and oil painting. Something we're gonna do in the show. It's something you haven't seen before. You haven't seen that in New York, and it's some of my best work. It's like completely new stuff that you guys gonna be really excited about.
Well, I can't wait.
Excellent. What are some of your goals to beyond? You did New York. Vegas, I guess, is one of your goals to.
I was, before the pandemic started, I was rarely home. I was traveling all over, and now, so now I'm starting to. It gave me an opportunity to plan a new show that I can maybe bring back to New York. Vegas would be great as well, and I'm working on some television show concepts right now. I developed some pretty interesting, unique ideas for television, TV series ideas that I think will be great. They're not just, they're not just like a series of magic effects and nothing else. They have some interesting ideas on top of the magic. So I think I have a lot to bring other than just the magic. But and of course, my passion is to create magic that is unique, that you haven't seen before. That's really what drives me to do what I do.
It was phenomenal to sit in that audience also, like Dave said earlier, and that suspension of belief, it doesn't have an age, it really doesn't, because everybody's just open to that amazement. I found that fascinating. I think
that's what I love about magic, and that's why I decided that really that's the best way to encompass everything I want to do in life, because it really bridges everybody. There's no difference between a child and an adult, or an older, a senior citizen.
And language also, and language bear nothing. Everything translates.
Mostly, yes. Sometimes language could become, if you know, there are some parts where I talk a bit, but a lot of it is visual. Most of the show even overcomes that barrier as well. Yeah, so it's really, it's an amazing thing. The biggest challenge is really that it takes so long to create some of those things. That's probably the biggest challenge, because I'm very stubborn. I refuse to do anything that has been done before. But the price I pay is that it takes me like forever. It takes so long to do new stuff. You know, it's very difficult.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
I'm sorry?
Is it expensive?
Sometimes it can be. I don't think, you know, to do magic, it doesn't have to be expensive. Especially when I started doing magic, I did things with items around my house, and so with water bottles, with glasses, just things you have around the house. And you know, now that I do this for a while, and I do well, I can spend some money on especially customized props if I wanted to. But it's really not about that. You don't have to invest money. It's
right.
really about imagination. You know, Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than information. And I think that really falls into that. This is the example that illustrates it, because you don't need all the gadgets and expensive technology. You can overcome this with creativity.
Right.
And that's how I started, you know.
Right. You know, it's funny. I remember, I don't remember if you remember, Dave, there was a guy behind me, or two guys behind me, and one guy was saying, I know how he does it. I know how he does it. You must get a lot of people, I mean, or hear that mumbling in the audience. I'll guess you or something like that.
Well, you know, it's a human nature to try to figure things out, and to know, to try to, like, a lot of them have theories. It's actually, when I appeared on Penn and Teller's show, I was exposed a little bit to the theories people have, because they wrote them online, and they tried to figure out how it was done, and there were like hundreds of comments, and some of them were so hilarious, and it was hard for me to imagine that people are going to such length and so much imagination to come up with things I never imagined were possible to do. But people come up with all kinds of funny explanations.
Wow. How's Penn and Teller? Nice to meet them, and were they inspiring to?
Oh yeah, they're absolutely nice. Yes, and actually, before the pandemic, in March, I was attending a taping of the show. I was in the audience.
Yeah.
So that was the last night they taped the new season, and that was just aired this past summer. And so the next day, the airport was about to be closed, and that's when I flew back to Canada. I was scheduled. I was just lucky. I managed to return on time when everything closed.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Are there any magicians that you love? Do you have favorites, or?
When I started, I don't follow magic that closely today, just because I don't want to be affected or imitate. I just trying to not to watch other magicians today. But when I was starting out, I grew up watching David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy, and Penn and Teller, and Darren Brown. Those were my favorites.
Yeah. David Blaine also. He is. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is it at all lonely? I mean, is it just you, or do you have an assistant, or?
I have technicians. Sometimes one, sometimes more. Depends on the show I'm doing and where. Sometimes a couple of technicians that I go with, and they mostly, do lights and sound and stage work. But as far as the show itself, I mean, it's kind of as you've seen it. It's really me and the audience.
Right.
So the audience are my my stars. They're my, what the show is about. I try to make the show as immersive as possible. So just like, we did earlier, where it was all about you, where do you want to go, and your dreams. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I remember we went out for breakfast the next morning after seeing your show, and we were 6 inches or just across the table from you, and of course we asked you. We said we'd pick up the bill if you would do a magic trick for us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mesmerized us. Yes.
You did a little trick where you ripped off a Sweet and Low package and it came to life again. It was just incredible.
Oh, I remember that. It was a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago now.
Already, I
It
think
was a couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll get you up here eventually.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end, but I was wondering, was that it, or do you have any other tricks? Or
Let's see. Let me see. I haven't prepared anything else, but
if you don't, that's okay.
okay.
Okay. Cool. No.
Okay. Not to worry, but we're so excited to have you up in June. It is 6 months away, so it'll be great. But before,
what is the date? Mid-June, somewhere there?
I'll have to get back to you on that, but I think second week in June. But
June. Okay, that's
I
great.
love it. Susan says, bringing wonder, making people smile. It's a gift, really magical. How nice it is. It is when you bring wonder. I think I love that. It's like great theater, like great art. It's that suspension of belief. It's quite. Can you share with us? I'd love to know a trick that, like you said, didn't work. Can you let us in this, or is that too much of a giveaway? Something that you had the idea for that just couldn't make happen.
That I couldn't realize, or that failed.
It couldn't. No, you couldn't realize it.
Well, never give up.
Good.
And
Okay.
so never consider something. I just say I'll keep working on it, so I don't want to give you a specific example because I'm planning to perform it one day.
No, perfect. Matt just said that the dates would be June 15th to June 29th.
Oh, right.
21. So
June 15th to 29. Great.
I think let our people put that in our date book.
Don't forget, okay?
yes, put it on your date book too.
Yeah.
And you can buy tickets, I think, now to see that show. Before we let you go, there's a couple of things that our theater company is doing. We had a beautiful concert last night with a Canadian singer Amy Sky, which is still available for till Wednesday evening. If you want to catch that, you can get it on demand. And we have something special coming up on December 6th. Vitaly, we have the Jewish theaters from around the world we've contacted. You can see the list of countries here, and they talk about their theater company and perform a Hanukkah song. And it was a great way during COVID to really connect with some of the wonderful theater companies all over the world. And we're putting together this concert on December 6th at 3 p.m. And it's free for the whole family to enjoy virtually. So we're thrilled to be doing that, thanks to our sponsors that helped us with that.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough. As magical you are, you're so personable too, and the humor you bring to your tricks, it's effortless, and we just can't wait to get you back.
It's so long.
It's always
welcome
to talk to you.
Before we close, I just want to introduce the guy doing the magic behind the scenes, our general manager and magician, Matt Birnbaum. Not magician, illusionist. There he is. Good work tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, okay.
Now make yourself disappear. Look at that.
And before we go, we have a bit of a lightning round for you. Some one-word answers. We'll give you the questions.
Yeah. We leave every guest with this lightning round. Go ahead, Dave. Number one.
So, what do you like on your latkes? Applesauce or sour cream?
So latkes is like
potato pancake.
Yeah, the potato pancake.
Oh, it's like European pancakes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Potato pancake.
Well, it depends, because if they're sweet, like with raisins, then I would put sour cream or yogurt.
giving a long one-word answer, Vitaly.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Okay.
On your bagel and cream cheese, do you put lox or nothing?
I don't like cream cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite Jewish comedian?
Jewish comedian. I always loved Louis de Finesse. I don't know if I feel like he's Jewish. Louis de Finesse is a French comedian.
Louis Finesse. I'm gonna look him up.
I feel like he was Jewish.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Who's your favorite actor?
Actor.
One of them.
It's a tough one.
Male
It's
or
Jewish.
female?
Not Jewish.
No, anybody.
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton, wonderful actor. Favorite film? One of your favorite films? Maybe growing up or
Illusionist.
Ah,
Yeah.
very good.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Good.
You have a tattoo.
No.
And last question, if you had one word for the future of humanity, what would that word be?
Wonder.
Look, Vitaly, I wrote down the word wonder.
It comes around.
How did you do it?
Vitaly can't come.
That's my message.
Saltzman,
My
evening
friend,
wonder.
thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. I mean, it's been so odd to see you 2 years ago when we've wanted to do so much, and then the COVID hit and the scheduling. But we'll have you up hopefully when everything breaks for our audience to just sit with wonder and watch your fantastic artistry. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you for your time.
Wait, I can't
You're
wait
welcome.
to do
Thank
it.
you. And everybody, next week, our guest is a comedian and founder of Yuck Yucks, Mark Breslin, a brilliant man himself. And that's our last conversations until the new year. So we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. And to our guest once again, Vitaly, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Have a great week, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.